Hey, how much money do you have?
Like 69 cents.
You know what that means.
I don't have enough money for chicken nugget.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Retro Alliance Gaming. How are you all doing today? It has been a little while since I have been on here and doing a video. We've been quite busy and things have been a bit hectic, but I am back today, and what I would like to talk to you guys about is one of my favorite series ever on the Sega Genesis, and that is Phantasy Star. Now, really quickly, I'm not actually going to be talking about the series. In particular, I just want to talk about the original game, Phantasy Star, and I will probably later on in the future go on and do a lot more videos on every single one of these, including reviews, everything you could imagine, you name it. But I have to talk about this game. And the first thing that I want to say is, if you have not played this game before, and you are an 8-bit fanatic, 16-bit, or you grew up in this generation, I want you to stop everything you're doing right this second. I'll give you a sec. Okay, stop. Pause this video, turn it off, do whatever you have to do, find an emulator, get a Master System, and play this freaking game right here. You guys all need to experience Phantasy Star. This game is literally one of the best RPGs I have ever played in my life, and definitively one of the best 8-bit RPGs I've ever played in my life. Now, that being said, obviously going back to 8-bit, you're going back to a lot more of a simple time, okay? So the mechanics of these games, the way they look, how they feel is a lot different than any 16-bit, 32-bit, or moving forward on from that point kind of game you would play. But going back to the basics of what an RPG build is and experiencing this game, it's absolutely unbelievable. So let's go ahead and get started and get into it. When I was a kid, I never really played a lot of RPGs. I didn't actually understand what they were. I remember playing The Legend of Zelda, and I remember playing Mystic Quest, you know, the beginner's RPG for everybody in America. And they were fun, but, you know, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have guides, and they were kind of hard for me to figure out. So it took me a little bit later to start getting into these games. One thing I remember is playing Final Fantasy on the NES. Now, if you look at Final Fantasy on the NES, it's a good game, right? Sure. I know I'm not sounding very convincing when I say that, but everything on there, from the story to obviously the graphics, the way it plays, the monsters, seems very rudimentary. Well, if you look at it and you compared it to Phantasy Star, it is literally night and day. Phantasy Star does not feel like an 8-bit RPG. This game feels like a 16-bit RPG. Whatever it happens to be that Sega put into this game, or the fact that the Master System is far more powerful than the NES, it really pushes the hardware as far as it can go when you play this game. It is freaking beautiful. A couple things I want to point out about Phantasy Star. First off, when you're generally looking at 8-bit RPG, and let's say you're getting into a randomized battle, what you're normally going to get is you're going to get a static image, and you're going to show a static enemy, even on Dragon Warrior. And when you go to press a button and you go to hit this enemy, you'll see a slice, and then you just see a little tiny move. No animation, nothing, a little tiny move, and the HP will start climbing down. There's a lot of simplicity involved in an 8-bit RPG, and as you're going forward to 16-bit and on, you start to see things grow and get bigger and better. Well, with Phantasy Star, this game throws all of that out the window. Number one, every single environment you're in, depending on where you are, if you're on the beach or you're in a forest somewhere, which planet you're on, and yes, there are multiple planets on this game, the background's going to change every single time you fight an enemy, and this is freaking crazy. If you're more of a modern gamer, any kind of games, this might not seem like a big deal to you, but this is freaking huge, guys. At the same time, whenever you're fighting, you're going to notice the enemies in the background, they're not static. They're not completely still. They're actually continuously moving around, and they have animations, like this one guy with his tongue flying out. I mean, all the enemies, and there's multiple, tons of enemies throughout this entire game. Couple of other things, the graphics on this game, freaking brilliant, beautiful, colorful. They go above and beyond any 8-bit game I have ever seen in my life. Again, this should definitely be a 16-bit game. One of the most impressive things I have seen on this game, and this blows me away, is the dungeons. Now, have you guys ever played like Fester's Quest? If not, I have a video on it. If you haven't played Fester's... Did you just roll your eyes at me?
What?
Did you just roll your eyes at me? I could have swore you rolled your eyes at me. Did you?
No. I'm playing a rhythm game. That's a little bit more worth my time.
Oh, anyways, guys. Okay, so getting back to where we were, if you look at Fester's Quest and you're playing that game, they tried to throw in this first-person dungeon, and it literally induces a freaking seizure. Okay, a seizure. Every time you're moving, you go like this. It's like different frames, and it's constantly flashing. So whenever I was playing that game, I'm like pressing these buttons, and I'm closing my eyes trying to press it really fast because I just want to get past it. That was not true to this kind of thing. Now, real quick again, 16-bit games, I have never even seen this before, what they do in this, but you get actual first-person dungeons with these pseudo 3D graphics. However they manage to do it with rotation, the way it looks, the trickery they use. You go into first-person mode and you're moving through these dungeons, and they're huge, and there's different levels, and generally, yes, they're basically simple, you know, it's kind of the same image you're seeing as you're going. Each dungeon is different based on the fact of which color it is, but it is impressive, and to see something like this on an 8-bit system, oh my god. I popped this game in, and I couldn't believe it. I literally could not believe what I was seeing, guys. Now, when it comes to the story, these games are very simple and very basic. I don't want to, you know, give anything away, but basically your main character is out for revenge because somebody killed her brother. And this guy is up to no good, and she is after him, and she wants to find him. It's not only to avenge her brother, but she's also trying to save the whole Algor system that you're in. So that's just giving you kind of the basics and the simples. I believe his name's pronounced LASIK or LASIK. Is it LASIK or LASIK? Because LASIK sounds like eye surgery.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
I really hate saying that because I love this game. It's like one of my favorite games ever, but I'm always like, LASIK? LASIK? What is it? But whatever. So you have this story, you have this motivation, and you're going through this game, and then right when you think, okay, this game is really beautiful, it's brilliant, how much bigger could it possibly be, again on an 8-bit cartridge, it gets bigger and better, guys. You get boats to go across the water, you get hovercrafts to go across the sea, and to even blow my mind more, you can travel to different planets.
Okay, so that just sounds like my book. Well, series.
Yeah, well, it does, and we've actually found similarities to that. And this game, you're taking off in ships, and you're taking off to other planets, and you actually have animations of this. So you have these different planets, places you go into, multiples of monsters, first-person dungeons. There is so much to this game. It's unbelievable. I don't want to take up all the time in the world trying to convince you guys or explain to you my love for Phantasy Star 1 on the Master System, but it is by far the best 8-bit RPG I have ever played in my entire life. And if you have not played this game, guys, please, I beg of you and I urge you to go out there and get Phantasy Star and sit in front of your TV and just use your imagination and fall into the absolutely breathtakingly beautiful game. There is more I want to talk about on this. There's even more details you see, like when you're in a battle and there's the ocean behind you, you see the water moving back and forth. But I'll save the rest of the details for a review, guys. Just go out, buy Phantasy Star, play the very first one. It is, in my opinion, the best in the series. Next one is 4, then 2, and I'll go on from there. But amazing, brilliant, beautiful, bring the tear to my eye. Everybody in the world should play this. Anyways, guys, that's all I want to talk about. Have you played Phantasy Star? If you have, leave a comment below and let me know what you guys thought about it. If you liked it, disliked it, let me know what you think about the video. Please leave a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed and you don't mind looking at this ugly mug, go ahead and subscribe. Anyways, guys, as always, I appreciate your time, and